Welcome to Crosstown Cardboard episode 102. The name of this episode is Now What with a question mark, because the question is, now what in the sports card hobby after the National has concluded? Craig and I met up for just the third time ever, and we're trying to figure out how much our direction in the hobby has changed and how much it has stayed the same. And we have great card examples to prove each point. That's Craig at New York City Sports Cards, the math teacher, the soccer coach in New York City. And I'm Carmine at Carmine's Cards, the sports storyteller down here in Greenville, South Carolina. And Craig, one of the initial now what's coming off the SoCo Expo, which we had Scott WCO cards on recently, is a realization that I'm slowly becoming a soccer guy. I got that Mia Hamm 1992 Sports Illustrated rookie that I'm showing here on the screen. And I just came back from covering an English soccer friendly at the University of South Carolina Stadium, Williams-Brice Stadium, friendly between Manchester United and Liverpool, which I just covered. Yeah, I spoke with a lot of soccer fans, very excited. They sold out Williams-Brice Stadium, almost 78,000 fans, and it was the largest crowd ever to watch a soccer match in the Carolinas. So that's just a small initial one. But what's going on for your now what? How have you gotten prepared mentally coming off the National to develop your collecting and flipping style? How has it changed or remain the same?
Well, real quick, did you get a chance to speak to any players as well?
We spoke with the manager of Manchester United after.
Cool. Very cool. So that was a different experience for you.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was like The Guardian, Sky Sports, all those European outlets. But the support was amazing for soccer here. I mean, which makes sense, I guess, if you're a soccer fan in South Carolina, this is a possibly once in a lifetime deal for these English teams to come over. And so why not make it to the game?
It's good. Love to see us grow the game. Actually, I have a new sticker on my water bottle. Love the game with the soccer ball instead of the O. So obviously soccer is a huge part of my life. And it helped me in my come down from the National, because after the National, you're coming off such a high. Your social battery is basically at a zero at the end of that weekend.
Yeah.
You've been staring at cards for 72 hours. You've been thinking about this. You've been planning for it, and it's just all over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So hence the episode, Now What? For me personally, I had a super busy week at work. I went right back to soccer camp. After soccer camp, I do like my private sessions, which for me, like my own mental health is really important to remain stimulated and busy. Otherwise, I'm like otherwise I'd be just right back into card mode doing nothing. So it was nice to be preoccupied with work. But having said all that, the grind don't stop. I mean, there's a reason we're able to do this weekly. And someone asked me recently, is it hard for you guys to come up with content every week? So I said, well, I usually buy, sell, or trade a sports card at least once a week.
Yeah.
So the content kind of writes itself. As far as now what after the National, for me, it makes most sense for me to allude to a Jalen Brunson Instagram post.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you sent me this one.
Where right after he signed the extension, the very, very team-friendly deal extension, Jalen Brunson posted this photo on Instagram with just him getting his work in the gym with the caption, "Nothing changes." So for me, coming back from the National, this event that you plan like probably all year for me personally, nothing changes.
And what does that look like in card form of nothing changes?
Well, I came back from National with a really super nice Knicks collection that I was able to bring back with me. And because that's my mission here. I love the New York Knicks. I love chunky game-worn patches and autographs. And I love collecting my team. So I'm just out here trying to grow the dopest Knicks collection possible. Because it checks all the boxes for me. I'm getting the good stuff, where if I ever did need to sell it, no problem. I know people who will want it. It's not super easy to find out there, so the thrill of the chase is always there. And then just the orange and blue colors just strike a chord in my brain. So Jake, first team All-National, sent me a text the other day. He said, hey, I got these 2 chunky Knicks patches. I know you're my guy. And he's like, 200 for the pair. I didn't even negotiate. I said, sure, no problem, easy. So I picked these up from Bleecker a couple days ago. And we got back from Cleveland. I got a bunch of Knicks patches. And here we are a week later back in New York City. Nothing changes. So Jake hooked it up with immaculate 2022-23 Julius Randle. Big, chunky jersey number. You could see it's that parallel. So this is probably from 30. I'm guessing from the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Game worn, numbered 1 out of 15, along with a 2018-2019 Panini Flawless Patrick Ewing dual chunky game worn patch, numbered out of 15 as well. So 2 Knicks patches, nice and chunky, game worn, numbered out of 15. Nothing changes.
Yeah,
I got these from Jake, from Bleecker. They're Knicks cards that I like. So yeah, for now, what for me, as far as what I'm collecting, it's more the same.
More of the same. Are those PC cards for you?
Yes, and to prove that the Randall's PC, I had 2 other lower end Randall patches that I just recently moved. So there was a missing Randall slot in my Knicks PC. So now this is the one Randall that I have. And if you give me a Ewing Flawless chunky patch, yes, that is almost guaranteed to be PC. So that's where I'm at.
That's great, bro. Good for you. And shout out to Randall, reminding me of Monsters Inc. You know Randall, the invisible guy,
Okay.
the rival of Sully and Mike Wazowski, my dual auto. That would be a cool triple auto. I don't know if that exists in Topps Chrome Disney. But now what for me? A little bit of a dip into that pop culture. You know, I mentioned that dual auto there, something you probably wouldn't expect me to pick up. Also coming off the National, I feel like you do such a great job of not knowing exactly what you're going to get at shows, and then something catches your eye for one reason or another, or sometimes multiple reasons. And then, you know, you really see at a big show when you have multiple days like the National, what am I interested in and why? So I've been doing a little bit of a study on that to figure out now what really catches my eye and interests me going forward from the National. And one of the lanes that I found was these in-person autos, which I know kind of have a taboo feel to them in the hobby. A lot of people don't like in-person autos. They're not pack pulled. They're not, you know, signed in the presence of a representative, but, you know, they're graded and authenticated. To me, it doesn't really matter. And it also brings the price point down a lot from the pack issued or box issued autographs. So like I got 3 of these Shaquille O'Neal 1992 in-person autos with a PSA 10 auto grade. And I bought them for $400 total for the 3, which was $133 a piece. So I was pretty happy. I already traded one of them at one of their trade nights, and I traded it straight up, one of the 1992 Shaq in-person autos with the PSA 10 auto grade. Traded that Shaq straight up for this Devin Booker.
Love that.
Dual game used patch, flawless, numbered out of 10 with the gold variation. So that was a pretty cool straight up trade. And that has stayed the same. Speaking of now what, the game used chunky patches, I think that's always going to be one of our things. Yeah. Just like your Ewing and Randall pickups from Jake at Bleecker. We love the game used patches. And here's 2 more that I picked up from the National. This LeBron 3-color National Treasures game used patch with the Lakers, numbered out of 25. Bought that for $300 straight up from one of the booths. Could be a thumbnail potential. Hold on. Let me get my Devin Booker here.
A patchy thumbnail. Yes.
Ooh,
chunky.
Ooh.
This is a chunky picture.
Ooh. All right. I think that was good. My cat made an appearance. Shout out to Vivica. Vivica Fox just had her 60th birthday.
Oh, good for her.
So now what for her? The aging process still not taking place. LeBron, the 3-color patch there. And this one I got from our buddy Koopy Cards. This 3-color, this is the trim again. You know, we talk about patch, jersey, and trim on the game used.
Trim up top. We got a trim situation.
Okay, okay, but no card trimming, just
No,
jersey,
definitely not.
just the jersey trim. My gosh, we want to now what? No controversy, no crosstown cardboard controversy. Here's Ultimate Collection with the trim, Tracy McGrady, 3 colors from the Rockets. So the in-person autos, I kind of been doing a little bit of that, but the game use patch is definitely staying the same. Got a few more in-person autos here. Bill Clinton, former president.
Love it. Look at you
Who has
diversifying.
who has the success as a president and some controversy as well, as we all know. Cheryl Swoops, look at this. 1997, another in-person auto. This is a rookie 1997 pinnacle inside the WNBA. An all-time legend, Cheryl Swoops, Hall of Famer. She's looking up through the net for this picture. Kind of a cool pose. But it's an in-person rookie auto, similar to the Shaq.
Listen, you want to turn heads at a card show? Oh, never mind. I had a joke there, but we'll keep it PG-13.
No.
If you wanna really turn heads at a card show, you should look for a Monica Lewinsky autograph and pair that with the Bill Clinton, have them side by side.
That would be a great dual auto. But I don't think Hillary would sign that one. So speaking of controversial figures, Bruce Jenner in-person auto. Allen and Ginter, the decathlon champion. And he signed this one. So I was interested, Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, what he was going to sign. So this was maybe pre-Caitlyn. It's 2008 tops. I also saw when she signed some of these Caitlyn. So interesting. You got the Bruce Jenner, you got the Caitlyn Jenner on that card. So this was like $40 in-person auto. And I'm like, that's a great, to me, the cool to cost ratio on the in-person autos is out of the park. I got a Tony Hawk similar to this one, but I would have it to display, but I already sold it to our buddy James Lumen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I bought one of these, in-person autos. So, with the Now What theme, I really like the in-person autos. I have liked them, and I think this just reaffirmed at the National that that's a lane that apparently both of us are into. What do you want? What do you want for that Dennis Rodman rookie auto Fleer right there? What is that, 88?
This is 88, the rookie, and just like I had said, nothing changes. Maybe this isn't the type of card I would pick up, but I had to follow up on your in-person autograph segment with mine because I went into Alex's MVP, my other local shop. Listen, I support the local businesses. I go to Bleecker. I picked up a couple cards from them. I go to Alex's MVP, and I was able to do a little consolidation.
Okay, how did that happen?
I had a bunch of, so my inventory, we did value box digging, right? You were with me. Remember,
I was with you, and you got a lot of great Knicks cards.
Yeah, I got a lot of really cool. Should have gotten there earlier, but lucky for you, I was so generous, and I let you have all of the autographs. I let you have all of the autographs.
Look at this spin zone. Oh yeah, you know what I really needed was a Brodzikis Knicks rookie auto.
Well, for your Knicks autograph collection, of course.
True. I did like the Ron Baker. Yes, I did get some. I think I got 5 new Knicks autographs from my collection. So I'm like 25 Knicks autos in my PC right now.
There you go. So you're welcome. But
thank you.
Value box digging is super fun, right? We were able to do that at the National, and I picked up a lot of cool Knicks cards, obviously, as we discussed, and other things that I just like. But then I'm sitting here with this inventory, right? These $5 to $20 cards, and I'm just like, why, right? Why do I have these? I'm not setting up at a show anytime soon, at least that I know of. And that definitely, as far as now what, that changes things for me. If I knew for a fact I was setting up in a show in a couple months, I'd be saving all this stuff, maybe get myself a value box going or have some inventory out of my show. But because I am not planning on setting up, the school year's right around the corner, soccer season's about to begin, that definitely changes my strategy.
Right.
Just like when you have like my wife and I are going to Greece in a couple weeks. Knowing something you have to look forward to 100% changes your mentality.
Yep.
Right? If you have a big, like you did all the Final Four coverage, right?
Yep.
For work. So leading up to that, that's a really big moment. That's something you're prepping for. My wife and I are going on vacation. That's something we're prepping for. When you have a big show, that's something I prep for. If you don't have anything like that on the calendar, that's going to change your approach here. So I went into Alex's MVP. I ended up trading for this with this idea that, yeah, the value box stuff I found at National is super cool, but I really don't have a purpose for it right now.
Yeah.
I'm not setting up at a show anytime soon. It's not PC. So I was able to trade them plus like $40 cash, just a whole bunch of things.
Wow.
Right. So you might recognize that Darius Miles patch and a few other patches that I picked up from National, but just nothing that I really needed or had use for.
Julius Randle patch,
which I was able to trade because I got the new one from Bleecker. So I gave him all those things, which if you're a card store, and I love Alex's MVP, they don't turn over inventory like as much as the other places I've seen. So, I know I'm doing them a solid. Here's 10 to 12 cool cards you can put out on display, plus a little cash, and I'll gladly clear room and consolidate for this 1988 Fleer Dennis Rodman, as you alluded to, in person, autograph, rookie, in a PSA 10. I'd rather have this than 12 lower-end cards. What I do with it, I'll sit on it for now. I don't mind owning something like this. And eventually, next time I go to an event, it'll be way easier to trade this than it would be a bunch of $5 to $10 cards.
Yeah. That's another great consolidation by you. So now what on that front is nothing changes, like you said, because you've been doing that and you've been really owning in on that because you've done that quite a few times with Bleecker, Alex's MVP, the Denver card store. I mean, that's one of your trademarked moves now.
Well, the overall strategy is if you can get a collection of cards that maybe the cards are valued at $10 to $20 each, but you're into them for $5 to $10 each, you're able to consolidate that stack into a higher end card that you're into for a good value. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, that's a great little note for people to take down if you have a card shop near you and you're able to do that, because that's a Craig Shackner special right there. So what's the value of that Dennis Rodman?
They had it priced at $150.
That's what I was going to say, $150.
Yeah, I'm into it because of the trade in the cash for around $120. It's probably right what it's worth.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. Cool.
I'm happy with it. Again, it was one of those circumstances where it's not like the Rodman would have been the first card I would choose, but as we've alluded to here before, when you're in a shop, you kind of take the best that you can in that situation.
Yeah.
So what card that today have available is the coolest and the most reasonably priced that you can make a move for. That was my approach going into it.
Right. Well said, bro.
Yeah.
So
now what for you?
What's that?
Now what? Now what for you?
Now what for me is also another similar point I want to bring up, which is the Hall of Fame autos. So you got your Dennis Rodman off your consolidation. Clear Hall of Famer, 7-time consecutive rebound champ in the NBA. Of course, the championships with the Pistons, Bulls. So you did a similar thing that you did pre-national, post-national. Same thing for me with the Hall of Fame autos. So here's some Hall of Fame autos that I picked up from the national. I'll do these three together because it was one deal. I noticed this Magic Johnson 2013 Prism auto, this Joe Namath Don Russ Gridiron Gear auto 2005, and this Dan Marino Upper Deck SP Signature Edition on-card auto. This is from 1999, bro. So look at these three Hall of Fame legend autos, Marino, Namath, and Magic. What do you think I paid for these three at a table at the National?
$400.
$240.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. So they were all priced at $100. And so I offered $225, knowing that I would pay $240 because that would be 80%.
Good math.
And yeah, on those three. So I said, would you do $225? And he's like, what about $240? And I said, deal. So that was good. $80 each for these three Hall of Fame autos. I think they're probably worth around $100 each, so that's why they were fairly priced. So I'll probably ask like 115 maybe on each of these, and the good thing is that these three don't really come up that much because the Magic is early Prism,
Sure.
second year Prism. The Marino's from 1999, so that's super cool, and it's on card. And the Namath is 2005, so you're looking at a 25-year-old card in the Marino and a 20-year-old card in the Namath, and then an early year Prism with the Magic. So those were three that fit into my Hall of Fame auto, that I always love and you always love too.
Smart.
So that was a pretty good
whose
deal.
specialty that is? John from Behind the Diamond.
Yes, John. We haven't shouted out John in a little bit. He deserves a shout out.
Have you ever seen his setup at a table?
No, but I've heard him talk about it with like 8 tables.
Yep.
He's big at Hofstra, right? That's one of his big.
Yeah, and look, if you're a vendor at a show, the approach that you're taking in that stack right now, Hall of Fame, legends, notable guys, autographs, game-worn jerseys, that will always, always, always catch the interest of people walking a show.
And the great thing too with that, Craig, is the price point on those cards. Like you speak about the game used patches that I mentioned. This T-Mac is a $100 card. This LeBron is like a $300 to $400 card. This Devin Booker's around a $200 card. And those Namath, Marino, Magic are all around a $100 card. They're great elements of cards for people to collect, and they're all-time players for a reasonable price. So that seems to be a great formula for John and guys like us to a lesser extent.
Yeah. If someone says, hey, I want to set up at a show and get into cards for the first time, what would be your advice? I wouldn't say buy Downtowns and Kabooms. I wouldn't say buy Prism new rookies. I would say stick to Hall of Fame autographs, game-worn jersey cards. Over the course of time, it's not like they're going to ever skyrocket maybe in value, but I feel like they're as safe as a play as you can make.
Right. So why do you like those overall over Downtowns and Kabooms? Because at the National, when we're talking about now what coming off of the show, Downtowns and Kabooms were all the rage to the mainstream hobby population, I guess you could say. At the trade night or at the show, everybody's looking for Downtowns and Kabooms, but you're not quite swayed on that lane of the hobby.
When we were sitting at the table the first night at trade night, me, you, Augustino, Caitlin, Cards by Joe, Joe had an Anthony Richardson Downtown in a PSA 9.
Okay.
All of us were sitting at a table. We got a lot of cool cards out on display. The one card that when people would come to our table that everyone would ask about was Joe's Anthony Richardson PSA 9 Downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's not for me. It's not for me. This whole Downtown Kaboom craze, honestly, I think it's some of the laziest form of collecting out there.
Okay.
They're pretty liquid, and it seems to be like they're considered case hits.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're becoming less and less rare. So much so that Panini came out with a statement and said earlier this week, we became aware of a manufacturing issue with First Off the Line, Donruss Optic, and a coalition issue related to the Downtown insert. Basically, they put up way too many Downtowns into those boxes.
They put out that statement?
Yes. And it's not usually our style to talk about like this type of, to talk down on anything in the hobby. I just think the whole Downtown Kaboom craze is just so overhyped, and it takes no creativity. If a certain Downtown or Kaboom sells for $500 all day long, then how you trying to make money off that? Buy it for $450 and sell it for $500 all day long, right? Sure, it takes persistence and opportunity, but there's no skill to that. There's no skill to attempting to buy a card at a certain percentage that sells all day long, so then you can go sell it to a repacker for more.
But maybe that's the point, Craig, is it's all with the profit. Is that one of the reasons why you probably aren't too keen on it, because it's more money driven than anything?
Yeah, sure. And I'm not hating on anyone who does that. Like, go make your bread. That's cool. I don't see it sustaining long term personally.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends too on what year downtown or
Yeah.
Kaboom and what player, because like the new quarterbacks, like you said, with Panini putting out that statement, if they're selling every day or almost every day, that's one thing. There was this one Kaboom, and I like Kabooms overall, like just because of the cartoonish design, and the downtowns have like apparently way surpassed them based on interest from what I gathered at the National, and people, asking about them. Do you have a downtown? Oh my gosh, this and that. The Kabooms apparently have lost their value or interest compared to the downtowns from that's just not like a real survey. That's just like, noticing, qualifying evidence, not quantifying evidence for you math teachers out there. But I did see this Kaboom that I thought was really cool is Travis Kelce. I think he only has 2 years of Kaboom. I want to say 2019 and 2023. And he also kind of taps into the pop culture lane that I have started to like more and more with the Taylor Swift and, one of the most popular podcasts in the country, along with being a 3-time Super Bowl champ. It was only a Pop 7, this Kaboom, and a PSA 10 for Travis Kelce, even though it was last sold for like $1,850. So I was like, ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for me to want to put into a Travis Kelce Kaboom or try to trade into it. And so I re-hit the guy up on Instagram who had it because I took a picture of it at trade night, and he wasn't interested in trading. So that ended pretty quick. But
Nice.
but overall, with the downtowns and Kabooms, I definitely see where you're coming from. I just think it seems like one of those cards that has semi replaced the Silver Prism.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna make the same point that with the Kabooms, like the golds out of 10 and the greens 101, like I could see that. But the regular Kabooms,
those are sick.
The regular Kabooms and downtowns are starting to feel like Silver Prisms. Great,
wow,
great analogy.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, that just popped in my head because I'm like, which cards do people look at as that player's currency, basically? Like, if Anthony Edwards goes off in the playoffs like he did and helps the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he's playing great in USA basketball. Shout out to USA. I'm wearing our country's colors here. Patrick Ewing, USA jersey. So shout out to the Knicks as well. But if a player does well, which cards are really going to pop for them? Like and obviously rookie autos as well and the bigger cards, but like the consistently printed cards, which ones go up when a player performs well? Silver Prisms. And now these downtowns are coming into it as far as like a way to prospect on players. So I think that's part of it. Is it's the prospecting thing. It's a little bit more artsy. It's an insert. It's a case hit, like you said. And I don't know. It's a way to value the player and bet on them. So, but you're right.
You like the old school.
What's that?
Like the earlier Kabooms, like 2013 Panini Innovation was the first year they did Kabooms, and over 10 years ago, they were super rare then. All I'm saying,
yeah,
I really don't mean to hate. I want to know who out there is buying a downtown or Kaboom to hold and like enjoy and keep in their collection and not move. I'm curious about that. And
probably very few, I would guess.
So if you're only in it for the profit, I guess I would challenge anyone out there who makes a living buying Kabooms and downtowns and making a small margin on them, like open up to the mid 2000s products. Challenge yourself to find a cool SB Authentic autograph from 2005 that you think is undervalued and you learned about it because you researched some of the old sets. That's all I'm saying. Kabooms, downtowns, all this new craze, it's very basic and mainstream. That's just how I feel. It's not for me. It doesn't impact me. It's like, not one time was I doing a deal with anyone during National looking at that, them asking me for all those new case hits. Just it's a different part of the hobby. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's a good challenge for anybody who's more into the downtowns and Kabooms and the buying and selling on the quick margins and that kind of thing to think about maybe expanding, and maybe it makes us think about expanding into that realm a little bit. I don't think you're going to jump on that trend. But, for me, I'm always not really the downtowns. I'm more like the kabooms, but, different areas of the hobby can exist at the same time.
Sure.
I think that's a great challenge, though, because it does tamp down your creativity when you just look at the hobby through that one
exactly.
card.
There's so many intricacies of this hobby, so many sets that were made over the last 20 years. Like, appreciate them, learn about them. That's all.
Yeah. And speaking of, no, that's a great point. I'm glad you said that. Speaking of one of the interesting sets, this Patrick Ewing, I know you're interested in. The Now What is still here, sticking on the Hall of Fame autos for me. Patrick Ewing, Ultimate Signatures. My second one that I've mentioned, so we might be able to talk about that. Maybe Dennis Rodman and Cash. We'll see. I got the Gary Payton Flawless Auto, Clyde Drexler Flawless Auto, Isaiah Thomas Impeccable Auto. So staying with those Hall of Fame dudes, they're all under $125 there. The Ewing is like $350 to $400. And then I've been going crazy with these inscriptions, bro, as you know. So I just wanted to bring up, coming off the National Now What, sticking with the inscriptions, because two main reasons. They're much cooler. I guess it ties into this one reason. They're much cooler / they tell a story. And the second one is they're much more rare and unique than your regular auto, which you can probably find almost anywhere of a lot of these guys. So this Alex Rodriguez, I mentioned this great deal with Jake from Bleecker, another trade at the National. This Alex Rodriguez in a Yankees uniform, the 3000 Hit Club inscription. So that was very cool. I'm going really crazy on these inscriptions. Coming off the National, I noticed when I was looking at showcases, that was really something that caught my eye, even if it wasn't a sport that I necessarily collect or would regularly be interested in. But I remember having a Bill Goldberg action figure when I was a kid where you squeeze the feet together and he would punch. I don't know. That's just the memory I have of some WWE. He was a beefed up dude. So I saw this Bill Goldberg autograph in one guy's case. And this guy was telling me he was set up at the National as a dealer. He was telling me him and his buddy, they don't set up at any shows all year. They just buy all year long. Like, is that NSYNC?
Buy, yeah.
Okay.
Different spelling, but sure. Go with it.
Yeah. So, right. So they just buy all year long. And then they sell, which isn't Backstreet Boys. There's no connection there. But anyway, they sell at the National. They set up. They just buy all year, collect their inventory together, put it out at the National. That's the only show they set up at. And I was like, what a strategy. That's interesting.
That's the Christmas tree strategy.
What is that?
So you ever been in New York City during the holiday season where people sell Christmas trees on the side of the street?
No,
like I could walk 2 blocks down and there's a vendor just selling Christmas trees, and they're all just lined up on the city block. It's amazing. You walk right past it, you get a fresh smell of pine. But from what I've heard is that these Christmas tree vendors, same idea. They grow the trees all year. They do all of their business that 1 month leading up to the holiday season.
Yeah.
And then they run it back again 11 months later. And it's a very sustainable buess model. So I kind of respect what those guys do.
You're telling me that's an evergreen tradition.
Nice.
Thanks, bro. Well, I'm glad that tied in. So, but look at this cool Bill Goldberg though. This yellow border autograph, and on the back it's World Wrestling Federation.
Sweet.
Clearly not in English, but it's an in-person auto, and it has the inscription "Who's next?" which the dealer educated me. I was like, "What's who's next?" The dealer educated me that that's what Bill Goldberg kept saying when he was on an incredible win streak. So he's like, "Who's next?" Which I wouldn't be the one raising my hand to go against this big guy. So that was kind of cool. And this was only like $75. So great, cool to cost ratio there.
You found a really nice cool to cost ratio lane between in-person autographs and Hall of Fame autographs.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. And if the in-person has an inscription, even better. What about this, though? I didn't expect to buy this at one of the trade nights. This Leaf Metal Brock Purdy rookie auto, numbered out of 99, on card rookie auto with the inscription Mr. Irrelevant 2022.
I like that.
So, as we all know, Brock Purdy, last pick in the draft, nicknamed Mr. Irrelevant. Last pick in the NFL draft every year is Mr. Irrelevant, but Brock Purdy has clearly made himself very relevant, and he's going to make himself very rich soon when his contract is re-signed for the 49ers. But I just really like this as a pseudo play on the rookie quarterbacks, but a little bit more creative, kind of to your last point, than like a Brock Purdy rookie downtown. But at the same time, if you get more creative, you might get less liquid. So
that's kind of my style.
Yeah, but I like we don't care about, what's the quickest mover, we like cards we like until we sell them. So I'm going to like this Brock Purdy inscription, Mr. Irrelevant 2022 until I sell it. And so I'm pretty excited about those. So now what for me in that case is the inscriptions. Pretty excited to get a few more of those coming from the National as well.
Yeah, you definitely beefed up, I think, what your inventory is going to look like whenever you set up at a show.
Yeah.
You're just filled with Hall of Famers. Me personally, this is all of my inventory. If I were to go to a show right now, this is everything that I have that I could sell. 12 cards.
Wow.
Basically back to zero.
Yeah.
Which means I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be doing much transacting over the next indefinite amount of weeks with such little inventory and being so content with where my PC is. So maybe when the school year starts up again, maybe I could start buying a bit more. Assume I'll set up at a show sometime in the future and just be ready for it. It's tough when there's nothing on the calendar to want to continue to buy.
What about Fanatics Fest?
I'll be in Greece.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Trust me, I'm not mad.
You're not mad?
I'm not mad about it.
Because you want to take a vacation?
I'm going to be in Greece, sipping wine, overlooking the ocean with my wife. I could take a break from cards for a weekend.
Very nice. That's if Rachel's listening out there, great priorities, great husband priorities. We want to make that clear.
Whatever cash, by the way, I came home from National with.
Yeah.
Whatever was left over, I got myself a pair of sneakers. I got Rachel a pair of sneakers. I treat us to a nice sushi dinner. I love doing that, coming home from a show. Whatever cash is left over, just got to let your significant other know, thanks for allowing me to take the time and wheel and deal for a couple days. This is a small token of my appreciation.
You're so diplomatic with that. So smart. So smart. Great husband tips right there. So continuing with those inscriptions, Craig, I want to get to a little bit of the PC. Now what for myself? Has anything changed with my PC coming off the National? And we were mentioning the bargain bin searching when we were ending the National together. We were going through the Knicks cards with Sports Card Machines. Jason, great guy over there. Done a few deals with him, and he travels all across the country. 50 weeks a year he's traveling, and he's got a great team with him. So shout out to them at Sports Card Machines. So I picked up on the table next to them another inscription, but this one for the PC. This is Michael Buffer, and hopefully, I don't know if our following's big enough to where he can get residuals off of if I say this. I hope not. But it's the Let's Get Ready to Rumble, Michael Buffer. And I think he's a very rich man for trademarking that phrase. Every time it's used, I think he gets some checks off of that, because I know they tell us in the sports broadcasting world, don't use that phrase because the TV company is going to get a hefty check request or invoice from Michael Buffer. But as we know, the famous boxing announcer. And then he's got Bruce Buffer, who's also in this Leaf inscription set. This is from 2023. Really like the white and black. Maybe it's not fully white. It's kind of like a pearl color on this. Let's Get Ready to Rumble, Michael Buffer inscription auto. His brother, Bruce Buffer, known for his work in the UFC, doing the same job, introducing the fighters, getting everybody pumped up, setting the stage. And his phrase for Bruce Buffer is "It's time." I don't know if you've ever heard. He really charges it up and delivers that sucker. Not as well known as "Let's Get Ready to Rumble," but he's also in this set, Michael Buffer's brother. So how cool would it be to pair those two up? The Michael Buffer "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" inscription and the Bruce Buffer "It's Time" inscription. Then you have the boxing and the UFC inscriptions with the brothers. That would be pretty cool. So I think I'm going to keep looking out for this year of Leaf Inscriptions 2023 for my PC because it pairs great with my Pete Weber bowling inscription. Who do you think you are? I am. When he had that clutch strike to win a PBA championship and he was all juiced up. A lot of sports fans probably know that iconic clip. And that might be the only thing you know about pro bowling is that iconic moment of his celebration. So pretty cool to pair those up. Would love to get the Bruce Buffer inscription on that for the PC to match the Michael Buffer. But I paid over comps for this, Craig, this Michael Buffer. The sales were like 90, 100 for a while, and then they jumped up to like 130, 140, 150, 160 around there. The lowest that the dealer would come down to was 170. So I was like, you know what? It's from my PC, and I treated myself similar to what you did coming back from the National. That was like a parting treat for myself to pay the 170, get that for the PC.
Good for you. Proud of you.
I was excited on that. So that, as far as now what, hasn't changed there. A couple things that also haven't changed for my PC. I mentioned my number one pickup from the National, the Bird and Magic Ultimate Collection 0506 dual auto, numbered out of 25. So another awesome dual auto with Bird, his number one rival Magic in a BGS 9.5 with a 10 auto. This is the one that I had 1,500 cash, 1,500 trade with Raphael, the Prism God.
PG.
Yeah, the PG playoff P.
Yeah.
So got this from him. Very excited. Nice to do a deal with him in person for the first time after meeting him at Culture Collision, where we both set up at, and he's obviously the organizer of. So that hasn't changed with the Larry Bird PC. Also, another pickup I haven't mentioned yet on Crosstown Cardboard. This is one I bought from one of the trade nights at the National. This Larry Bird triple threads. We have 2 jerseys and a trim in the middle.
Trim. We love the trim.
Got the trim.
Use a trim. I could really.
Yeah. You are. Yeah. The thing's growing out. Are you going to get a trim before Greece?
Of course.
Okay. Just making sure. So I got the triple threads Larry Bird auto numbered out of 18. But the key thing here is the auto is beautiful, mint condition. And it's a color match with the green. How cool is that color match here?
I'm a big fan of triple threads. Triple threads as a set is a very quality cool to cost ratio set.
Totally agree. So I picked up this Larry Bird. This was it was funny though. The guy said, I said, how much for that Larry Bird? He's like 700. I said,
no,
what?
No, wrong.
I said 700.
Incorrect.
Yeah, I was like, so I was like, I really want this card. The price is ridiculous. Let me just look up some sales and try to see if these guys would be reasonable. So I looked up sales, and there was 1 out of 3. This same card numbered out of 3. Now the one I have is numbered out of 18. The same card numbered out of 3 sold for 300. And one that was numbered out of 36 sold for 200. So I'm like, all right, can we get somewhere in this range? Because if you're talking, 2 to 3 times what these are going for, I can't do that. If we're somewhere between the 1 out of 3 and the 1 out of 36 for this one out of 18, then we can talk. So I end up paying $250. The guy brought his main dude over, called him over, and we discussed it. And I'm like, here's the sales. Can we do something reasonable on this? Because it's for my PC with the color match. So great to have a triple threads Bird. I totally agree on that triple threads set that you mentioned, the cool to cost ratio. So that's another PC. But as far as the now what on this one, this was a little bit of a unique one, Craig. I got this from Jeff, the legendary New York City collector and pop culture maestro. He has all those different Game of Thrones cards, The Office cards, Star Wars autographs. He has probably the best pop culture setup at the whole national as far as cards like that. And people know it, and they come to him and seem like he was doing good business, and a great guy. You know him a lot better than I do, but we've talked about him on the podcast before. But I got this Denzel Washington Upper Deck Icons
2008.
auto on the letter E, numbered at a 6. And this is a nod to Denzel Washington's great role as Coach Herman Boone in the legendary movie Remember the Titans, of course. Slipped my mind for a second because I was thinking about how much I bought this card for, and I was a little bit shaken up. But it last sold for $1,050, but that was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
So, and it hasn't sold since. It's only numbered out of 6. And again, this is Upper Deck. It's not Leaf. So you have to have a
2008 UD Icons. I remember that set. I used to rip that.
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
right.
football product, I think.
Yeah. So it makes sense that a football coach from Remember the Titans, a football coach, Herman Boone, would be in the product. So really cool auto with the letter E. It's on the letter E. And it does say Herman Boone on the back. So I like that it really drives home the movie there. And just one of the most legendary sports movies of all time. One of the best actors of all time. His autos do not come up hardly at all. So I thought a really cool pop culture PC piece for me that actually has a good amount of value. So I paid $1,100 cash. So that's already more than the last sale. Plus a Gary Payton inscription auto, notable nicknames from National Treasures, the glove. Yeah, so I've had that one for a little while. I was into that for $450. I think I paid $1,050 cash actually, because I'm into this for $1,500 total, or $1,550. It's one of those, $1,500 or $1,550. So that's 50% more than the last sale on this.
You traded the glove, the Gary Payton autograph?
I traded the glove.
Isn't it ironic that, like OJ, the glove also didn't quite fit your collection?
Oh my God. We're really throwing out the controversial figures on this one. You had a hot take on the Downtowns and Kabooms. We've mentioned Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, OJ Simpson. My gosh, this is a star-studded affair.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah, I got this one. But a little bit different. Craig coming off the, now what from the National. A little bit different to get a Denzel Washington 4-figure auto here. So, but I had liked this one since Culture Collision. You remember me talking about it with Jeff when I got the Willis Reed, the captain, notable nicknames auto. And I was trying to get this Denzel Washington from Jeff at the same show. It had been on my mind. He knew I really wanted it. I've hit him up a couple times about it since then. So great to get a deal on it. And even though I paid 50% over comps, or over the only sale, I should say, because comps is different than only one sale.
Sure.
On a rare card. So pretty cool. Excited to add this one and expand my collecting reach a little bit.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, bro.
I think that's really all I got. So coming off a big event, now what? For me, my collecting style doesn't change. The way I acquire cards, the consolidation, going to shops doesn't change. I guess what changes for me is now that this big event is behind me and I don't have any shows or events coming up. I won't be at Fanatics Fest. Just be patient. Enjoy the collection I have. I don't have much inventory to work with. And then I guess next time I can go to the show, next time I have something to plan for, I'll start buying again. But I'm pretty content with where I am in terms of my own collection. And I think that's a great place to be in. Yeah.
Good for you, bro. And just one more point that I had on the now what thing as we wrap up episode 102, our second episode of season 3. A little bit with the quarterbacks. You know, I did get this Jalen Hurts rookie on-card auto. It's the National Treasures Field Pass set, which I really like because it's got that artsy design. You know, it's down low, angle camera, really good shots of the quarterbacks, very high definition, and it's on-card autos. This one's numbered out of 10. It's a rookie auto. The cool to cost ratio on these field passes is very good. So I got this. I actually traded your Giannis game used patch that I got from you.
Good.
Plus cash and a Kobe rookie, Kobe Topps rookie for this. So excited to get that. And so you notice with the quarterbacks here, Craig, it's like a little bit different. It's because like I have the Brock Purdy Inscription Mr. Irrelevant on-card rookie auto, and then I have the Jalen Hurts Field Pass rookie auto. So it's not like the traditional quarterback rookie lane. It's a little bit different, which might make it less liquid, but it's more fun for me to have these type of cards until I sell them.
Yeah, great point. And it goes back to what we said earlier. Like you could buy Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts downtowns, Prism Silvers. It's basic. I think there's fun in trying to get the more obscure cards like those. Because then you'll really find the right buyer for it. So
yeah, true. And they're more collection pieces too, like you said. Not too many people collecting the super liquid quarterback rookie cards.
But I like
the obscurity. Here's the obscurity too. We both got our George Mikan. So now what? We're staying with the obscure and the unique, regardless of whether or not that's exactly what we thought we'd get. It still provides a cool lane and a potential trade into something cooler. You know, there's not too many sales on the Mikan cards that we have, so it could be a good profit.
Go ahead.
Well,
I was going to ask you how your story sale went.
Nothing on the first Facebook post. So people could be that could be a general take on now what. Like people could be feeling a little national card fatigue coming off.
Understandable.
So many cards, so much activity, so much content coming out. Maybe they're taking a break because my recent Facebook sale did not get very much traction. But I have 2 other Facebook groups that I'm going to post those cards in. So that could be something there. Last card that I wanted to make a point on for now what, I'm getting into a little bit of the collegiate women's hoops because with them staying for a longer time in college, becoming legends in college, and the skyrocketing support of the women's college game, largely because of Caitlin Clark and then secondarily Angel Reese with their great rivalry, the Gamecocks women having so much success, Dawn Staley. And also, don't forget about UConn, though. That's why I picked up this Paige Beckers rookie auto, Bowman U Best, numbered out of 50, which I've mentioned in a perfect PSA 10. Big Ken, I've been listening to a lot of his stuff on Sports Card Lessons, and we were hanging out at the National, and I told him that I was going to go after a little of the women's college basketball, but really only Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers, because I think those two are going to lead the charge. Obviously not to the extent of Caitlin Clark, but they could be in the Angel Reese territory of interest, and I think UConn is really a big contender for the national title this year, as they almost always are, but this year they'll be hopefully healthy, unlike last year when they made the Final Four. So I think this is a good bet in the offseason before women's college hoops starts back up. Paige Becker is one of the most identifiable players, so got a rookie auto of her in the UConn jersey. And so that's a little bit of the now what in that lane, like open to some women's college hoops that I never thought I would be into until really this last year when everything skyrocketed with popularity and interest and seeing it firsthand, like you said, covering the women's college basketball tournament. So that's a little bit of a different now what lane that I could be open to in the future.
Right on. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think we're good, bro. Lots of cards. I really like, very card centric.
Yeah, and I guess a good lesson to take away from this is whether you went to national or not, just take a moment and figure out, all right, what's your direction, because it's ever changing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So good opportunity to self-reflect a bit here. Something that a couple people told us about our podcast, why they like it, is we integrate a real life into it. So like for me personally, I got a big vacation with my wife coming up. And then right when we get back, high school preseason starts with my high school team. And that leads right into the school year, right into the fall soccer season. So I have no choice but to take a step back from buying and going to shows. And I think I'll be okay and survive. And I'll be prepared for when the busy season ends. And maybe at that point, I'll be gearing up for the next year's Culture Collision that you and I might set up at again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah. Now what is a good time to reflect? I love that point that you made, and make a little plan. And you have the consolidation down pat, so you're probably less concerned because you have fewer cards to worry about moving.
Yeah, I'm very content with where I'm at right now. I'm not like sitting on a whole bunch of inventory that I feel like I have to move. So I'm happy. I'm a happy collector right now. The mission remains the same. I'm trying to build the dopest Knicks collection, period, out there. And it is a slow build, but you pick up pieces here and there. Yesterday, I'm looking through all my collection. I'm just looking at my Carmelos, my Brunsons, my Ewings. And I'm like, damn, this is dope. And it's been a really fun journey to build it, and it's not going to end anytime soon.
Good to hear that, bro. Happy for you.
Happy for you.
And yeah, I appreciate it. And we'll just keep this thing rolling.
All right. Peace.